in pursuit of matters which weren't entirely clear, certainly not to other parties within the court of Elizabeth or within the courts of Greater Europe, but they travelled and they sought to make connections. And it's February 1584, and Dee and Kelly, specifically Dee, has attempted to make a secret connection with the King of Poland, Stefan Batory, in an attempt to acquire his assistance, or at least some measure of his commitment to the support of the crown in the face of Emperor Rudolf II, who has been difficult in that he has refused audiences by Dee, who believes that if he can get Bathory on his side, he may be able to get the Emperor at least his ear for a short while. However, Stefan seems equally nonplussed by Dee's claims that he has been in touch with angels, and to that extent he has promised that he will not only show that he has communed with angels, but that he has recovered a relic of significance, to which end you find yourselves trudging along a muddy road south of Krakow in these early days of February, with only your personal possessions, no horse to ride on, for Dee cannot afford a horse and Bathory is unwilling to provide any. And the only additional possession you have, and one of you is carrying, is a small glass bottle sealed with black wax, within which there is it's half filled with liquid, slightly cloudy liquid, on top of which there is a single eyelash from Edward Kelly. And as you have travelled along this road, you've been informed that the eyelash will guide your way. And indeed, as you've been travelling, the eyelash has, probably not the right word, religiously stuck to the same direction. No matter what you do with it, it is pointing south. It is pointing along this road south of Krakow. You've already spent a day's travel and slept rough in a barn near the side of the road you found on the edge of a derelict farm. And this is now the following day. You've hardly seen anybody on the road, very few individuals certainly traveling in the same direction as you, and a few traveling north towards Krakow. But the weather is dismal, you are soaked to the skin, and you only have your own company to keep. And yes, so one of you is carrying this bottle. So which one of you is carrying the bottle?
I guess who's got the...
I'm posh, I'll carry it.
What's that, sorry?
I'm posh, I'll carry it.
Good man.
I'm the courtier. You lot are just plebs. Well, a clerk of the court, and what are you, a horse thief?
A horse trader.
Oh, same thing. You're in trade.
What price I get for you?
You're in trade. Apparently, I find it difficult to work with others. Is that on my character sheet? So don't blame me, blame Paul.
Yes.
I will keep that in mind. It's all my fault. So,
how far is this thing? We'll be in Budapest soon. It's not even the same kingdom. What are we doing here again? I've forgotten. Looking for something.
Shrine, isn't it?
Well, let's just keep following the
holy
eyelash
eyelash of Edward Kelly.
compass, whatever we want to call it.
So ahead on the road is well travelled, rutted, filled with rainwater, flooded potholes. But the actual surroundings are mostly wooded, relatively level. And it has to be said, you are reasonably impressed with the fact that the roads have been kept to the state they are. And the woods have been held back. So clearly there is some effort to keep the woods encroaching upon the track, which might incite certain individuals of ill repute to hang out and make advantage of unwary travellers. So the woods are some distance from the edge of the track itself. So
I was worried we were going into bandit country.
Pretty much anywhere south of the river is bandit country, isn't it? Once you've left London, you are in the hands of.
Well, Mortlake's okay. Been to Mortlake.
Well,
I mean, East Dulwich, you know, that was really the pits.
Little is John to know, but Mortlake's not so good now that he's left it.
Yeah. To his brother-in-law.
Yeah, he's going to come back to wish that he'd kept up with the insurance payments. So ahead, due to the fact it's relatively clear, you can see that there is a track, a much rougher and less prominent track, but clearly one that has been travelled by at least a cart on a reasonably regular basis. And as you close to it, the eyelash gauge begins to quiver and then turn towards the west.
That's a clever eyelash, isn't it? It doesn't point at the thing, it points down the road we have to take. You see, I thought it would point at the thing, regardless of what roads, but no, this waits for a turning and then indicates. It's so powerful. I didn't give Kelly enough credit.
Angels work in mysterious ways. And eyelashes, blessed by the archangel Uriel, are to be respected for their consideration of road users and late indication.
I don't want to go cross country. Well, this way. I would say gentlemen, but you know.
This way it is.
As I said, it's a fairly rough track. It clearly, as I said, has been used. You can see evidence of the deep furrows of a laden cart, but these furrows are filled with rainwater, which what little sun there is occasionally catches a sparkle in said water, but there's very little else to offer. Overhead, as you follow the trail, there is a flock of verminous birds flies up from somewhere out of the woods, passes overhead with a caw, and then vanishes. You perhaps spy a fox nimbly crossing the track some distance ahead. Once the track leaves the open, you are plunged within the woods themselves, and there's no longer the sense of space that you had before. That the woodland is enclosing and almost claustrophobic in its reaching overhead.
Like this.
Are you taking any precautions? You can say no.
I don't really understand the countryside.
Precautions against the weather?
Bandits.
Any kind. You've just left the relative safety of the road to a random dirt track,
Right.
following the trail of an
Bears,
eyelash.
wolves, and beavers in Poland.
Well, I mean, I have my trusty dagger.
Well, we've all got
Looming presence.
Does anyone know a prayer for safe travel?
No, but I might. I've got this second sight. How do I utilise that just to make sure we're not getting into something a bit dubious?
Well, as it happens, you do get a chill run down the length of your spine. Your hairs stand on end, and as you walk another step, you realise that it's stopped raining quite suddenly.
You all right there, Fox?
This weather is not natural. It can't just stop raining all of a sudden like this. We had
What does
best.
What does it usually do?
The weather, not in this way. This is abrupt. We have not come to the edge of the downpour in a gradual fading way. This has been very quite abrupt. I think we should be wary as we go.
Right. There's something that doesn't like rain up ahead.
I can't say. I just know that there's something slightly not quite right.
Does anyone know Legends of Poland? It's not a book I've read.
No, I don't think so. It's very much a case of you are Englishman abroad. You just
I'll just speak loudly.
you just shout at people.
Yeah.
Loudly and clearly.
3 of those.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just relying on you two to look after me then.
It's,
I've got the magic bottle. You have to look after me. Come on, let's not hang around then if it's bad country.
I mean, you go a short additional distance, and Fox at that point, beyond that strange feeling down your spine, you also realise now, as you've been walking a further distance with the rain having stopped, that your feet are no longer sloshing through mud and puddles. The ground is covered with fallen leaves, dead leaves.
That are dry as well.
They are dry, yes. So you've got the rustle of being able to basically half drag your feet through fallen leaves, which coat the ground around you.
Hang on, isn't it spring?
Indeed.
February,
Yeah.
yeah.
Until
It was all snow and stuff in Poland.
yes, well, it was chill rain that you were
Yeah.
walking through, which is what made it more unpleasant. But now, effectively, special effect time. You, if the button works, did the button work? Does that show? Did it do it?
Misty Woodland Trail.
Yes.
Is there a
on the
Misty
Road
Woodland
20,
Trail?
the Misty
There you
Woodland
go.
Trail,
Yeah. So that's where you effectively are. That's where you stood, looking back the way you've come. That's what you can see.
Oh, right. Are we in fairyland now?
Oh, we're not in Kansas anymore.
No, good. Does the eyelash still pointing this way?
The eyelash is still pointing to the west.
Right.
It has to be said, it's just despite your early comments upon its precision, or otherwise, it's the way it's pointing is not, strictly speaking, precisely along the trail. But the trail clearly runs along the path that would take you in the direction it's pointing.
Right.
Okay. I suggest we get this over and done with as quick as possible.
Yes, let's not tarry.
Yep. Up the pace, double time, as it were.
Well, so as you continue along the path, the tree line begins to thin, and you are able to see that the land around you is open, and clearly you are on the outskirts of a farm. Coming along the road from the east, you can see that there are fields stretching out around you. The woodlands borders the outskirts of these fields, although you can see on the western edge the fields are encroached upon by the darkened looming of woods. There are buildings some distance away, and the vague glitter of a river. The ground north of the road rises so that the northernmost part of the map that you can see is substantially higher than the southernmost edge. And scale wise, there you are. I think something in the region of it's a few hundred meters basically to the bridge from where you are, maybe half a kilometer.
Right, we're on the border, on the eastern edge.
Yeah, you're on the eastern edge where the little track enters.
And where is the eyelash pointing now?
So the eyelash is pointing slightly north of west.
So towards the bridge.
Yeah, towards the bridge.
Wow.
Let's go to the bridge.
Mm.
As you leave the edge of the woodland, following the eyelash begins to move. And indeed, it then begins to spin.
To spin.
Mm.
Oh.
And it moves in a steady circle around and around and around.
Lost it. How about we go back to the woods? I mean, we just move back.
We could take a couple of steps back and see if it reorients itself. Yeah.
Mm. As you step back, you find that it doesn't stop spinning.
Right, so it could be the bridge or that farmhouse or an island in the river, or I don't know.
Well, it occurs to me that if a normal compass is magnetized and is affected by a strong magnet, then a magic compass, magicized, is possibly affected by some strong magic.
Well, I understood the second half of what you said, but yeah. Could be. Well, I think
we've ever seen a straight line.
A spare compass?
No, would we have ever seen a compass? I'm trying to figure out, when was a compass invented?
Oh, we have compasses. We just don't really understand magnets very well.
Ah, right, okay. So yes, well, maybe a more rational thing to say then would be there's clearly something interfering with it nearby.
Or it's just lost. The thing is gone. We can go home. Or yes, it's just become confused in some way. Maybe there's some protective magic around the thing when you get close to it. It's detected our presence and has stopped us from looking at it.
Ah.
You've tripped a security measure.
Yes.
A ward.
Yes, a ward. I'm glad to be out of the woods, but
well,
let's walk in a straight.
It's still cold, right? So I say we make for the big house anyway and see if anybody would give us a bit of shelter, because we've been out here for far too long, frankly.
Well, yeah, there's that farm as well, which is on the line that the compass was pointing along.
Yeah.
All right.
So following the trail, the first building you come across looks like it's a small dilapidated barn. Dilapidated to the extent that it looks ill-repaired. There are timbers. It's entirely made of timber with a angled roof. But the timbers in the walls are clearly in places damaged. Indeed, as you approached, one of the split timbers moves, and there's a feeble mooing sound from beyond the hole in the wall.
Oh. Can we see that building on the bank of the river now from where we are?
Yeah, it looks like it is an arrangement of stout poles and what looks like some kind of fencing, sort of tight fencing, within which there are some farm animals, notably a couple of goats, a pig, and several chickens, beyond which you can also see some more animals, another pig and a few chickens.
But not fenced in.
Even from here, you can see that there is yet more sign of damage. So it looks like part of the pen has been cracked apart. The timbers are lying in shards on the ground, and some of the animals have escaped.
Well, I'll have a closer look at this barn then.
Coming close to the barn, you can smell the rank odor of death. Foul stench of rotting meat and manure. The door is weathered and secured with a loop of rope, but you still hear the sound of a so low moaning sound coming from inside.
I'll sort of stand to one side of the door.
You know animals, don't you?
Yes, that doesn't sound like an animal though.
What, the mooing?
I thought it was moaning.
There was mooing as you approached, but it sounds like a sort of odd moaning sound when you get close. Well done. Well done. You can be Chief Distressed Cow as a secondary role.
Right, shall we have a look then? We may as well while we're here.
Yeah, careful when you're at the door. Try not to let anything out.
Yeah.
So the barn is partitioned into 8 separate stalls. The one immediately on your right, there is a emaciated cow. It's basically skin and bones. It has a loop of rope which is securing it to a stub in the wall, but it is clearly strained against this. It's scarred. There's signs of blood on its hide where it's tugged and pulled at this loop, to the extent that it's managed to get through the hole. And you can see on the ground just beyond the hole that there's like spilt feed, like a barrel or something has been upturned, and there's food which it seems to be desperately trying to reach. There are other stalls as you go further inside. You can see the rotting remains of 7 other cows that have not survived.
Is it full of crap as well, where they've sat in their own feces?
Indeed. It looks like no one is cleaned in here or fed to the animals for weeks.
So being as careful as possible with where I put my feet, I'll cut the cow loose.
It immediately pushes further through the hole, ravenously reaching as much of the feed on the ground as it can. You can see that there's clearly other supplies in here, but they're all well away from the animals and have not been touched as a result. And you're able to sort of break open a barrel and gather out more feed to be able to provide the animal with more to survive.
I'll
But
do
yes,
that then.
Yeah, but as I said, the others are all quite dead.
Well, this is a bad augury, isn't it?
Hmm.
From your perspective, Fox, though,
Neglect.
the other thing you would say, not that you've got experience with dead animals by any means, or the mistreatment of animals in any way, shape or form,
No, never.
but you notice a complete lack of flies or vermin. There's no sign that the corpses have been chewed upon by rats or otherwise, and there's no flies in here of any kind, or any sign of maggots or other growths in the dead bodies.
Have they decayed in any way, or have they just?
They just look like they've collapsed from
Right.
malnutrition, but then and then they have, in some measure, their bodies have begun to settle as such, and the stench is coming from
Right.
the bodies and the manure, but there is no sign of further decay or the presence of any vermin that you would expect where there was a carcass.
Yeah, carrion. We saw those crows earlier, didn't we?
I wonder. So, wouldn't be a good idea to try it here, but I'll move back out of the barn.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm further away from any form of methane or anything like that. Do we have any flint and tinder or anything like that?
It would be reasonable to assume that at least one of you has something to be able to start a light. Yes.
I'll attempt to create a flame and see how the flame behaves.
How are you expecting it to behave?
So in terms of this, there doesn't seem to be decay.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the flame started, it would just continue to burn and continue to burn and continue to burn, in the same way that, you know, something might be messing with the passage of time here.
Okay. So you do light something, scrap of wood or some straw, grass. It takes a little longer to burn. It does begin to burn down, but yeah, it is clearly burning more slowly than you would expect, much more slowly than you'd expect.
Right.
To the extent of which, yes, you're stood there after a few minutes with a bit of straw in your hand, which still isn't burning down significantly.
Okay. I shall demonstrate this to the others.
Mm.
And then I guess I'll put it out. Wouldn't do to set fire to the field or anything.
Okay.
This is curious.
So as I said, across the river you can see the pen. There are some animals roaming. The fields themselves are ill maintained. They have clearly, they look like they've been harvested, but having been harvested, the stalk, what's left in the soil has been left. The fields are not in any way prepared for the next season.
And they haven't burnt the stubble or anything.
Basically, it is just a field of stubble.
Right, and that would have been since last autumn.
Across the river, there is a stone bridge, not much further down the path, and that then leads towards a more substantial building, a kind of longhouse, beyond which there are a couple of other smaller buildings along the banks of the river.
Is the river? Is the water similarly strange? I'm going to toss a pebble into the river to see what the ripples do.
So the pebble passes into the water without making any ripples. And you do see that the water looks oily and unnatural. The surface has the appearance of a river in motion, and you can actually hear the sound of the flow, but you can't. It doesn't look like it's flowing at all.
Hmm.
And you can't see any sign of fish or birds close to the water.
Unnatural.
I say we press on.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
So the eyelash was pointing just north of the river?
Coming along the trail, you would guess that would be roughly where it was pointing.
So is that just north of the bridge, not as far north as the house then?
Yeah.
So somewhere between the bridge and the house?
Yes. But there's nothing there. I mean, there are fields, and there's the bridge itself.
So it's a stone
else.
bridge. It's raised above the river?
Yes.
If we go down, is there an underneath to the bridge?
Yes. It's a fairly shallow curve to the bridge, but yes, there is an underneath.
There's nothing there on the north side, is there?
No.
Right.
Oh, I think I shall cross the bridge then.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've already crossed it to look underneath it.
Look under from the other side.
So beyond the bridge, immediately beyond the bridge, there is one of the chickens giving you a wary eye as you approach, before losing interest and stabbing at the ground, seeking anything interesting to eat. You notice that the pigs and goats that you, as well as the chickens, are looking underfed. They're not emaciated. They look as though they've got some access, given they've been able to break free of the pen. And you also notice that outside of the pen, there's what appears to have been a barrel at some point, but the barrel has been smashed. But presumably, you would guess by one of the pigs, which is probably responsible for taking down the fence itself. And as a result of which, the animals they look like they're using the pen purely for the fact that it's somewhere they're used to, but they clearly have free rein, but they're looking underfed, and the pen itself is filthy with manure, dirt, manure.
As long as the pigs don't look at us too hungrily.
Yeah.
You notice that near the pen, there are a couple of fairly clean bones from what looks like a couple of the chickens, a sort of scattering along with a few feathers, which have been.
One of our pigs bit the tails off our cockerels.
The pigs have gone a little further this time.
Right. Well, let's keep away from them and move towards the house.
Yep. Yep. Head to the house, indeed.
Is there any light at the house?
So there is. So I mean, it's early afternoon. There is no visible light coming from the house. The house has slightly more windows than the picture I'm showing you. There are, assuming that the pictures come up. It is a grey, a substantial grey longhouse.
Oh God, it's peasants.
There are small square windows at ground level with shutters, and you don't actually see any windows on the upper level from the front. But it is in the style and general appearance of the rural buildings that you saw on your journey when you stopped in that barn on the way down.
Wow, even Essex isn't this bad.
You can see that there, the tracks that you originally saw get as far as the longhouse before swerving off and carrying on a towards one of the buildings further along the river. The majority of the weight of movement is clearly, it stops here, like it's loaded up in front of the longhouse, and then journeys on from there. But it's clear the cart must be clearly stored in one of the other buildings, but there's no sign of it or any people indeed as you approach the longhouse.
Okay. Follow the tracks.
You don't want to go into the longhouse. It looks old, doesn't it? It looks very old.
Yeah, not especially.
All right then. I'm not going to argue. It looks spooky, and
Yeah.
mind you, we're looking for a shrine, aren't we? So
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the shrine would be back that way, back the way we came a bit, but I don't know.
The eyelash is continuing to spin.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I think you would think this feels like a storage area rather than
No,
anything
it's
else.
where they live with their pigs. They're dirty fuckers, the Polish. Once you get out the cities, you know, it's hardly civilized,
Okay.
is it?
Well, I mean, as we're here, it does no harm to inspect it.
No, let's have a look in.
Yeah.
The front door, despite the picture showing an open doorway, is closed, and when you try it, it's locked from the inside.
Or barred, probably.
Knock at the door then.
You knock. There is a sort of echo of the sound of your knock beyond the door, but there is no sound or movement in response.
Go around the outside and see if there's any other openings.
Yeah, one round. Yeah.
There are quite narrow, sort of squarish windows around the base on the lower level. They have shutters on the outside against the weather, and peeking between the shutters, you can see on the inside they have sort of filthy sort of cloth curtains on within. Peering further, you can see everything inside is kind of like unlit and grey. There's no sign of any kind of fire or any real light getting into the building. So it's just a sort of grey shadow within. You can't see any sense of movement or people, and there's no sounds. But that's just through sort of gaps in the curtain.
When you say the door's locked, is there an actual lock or is it barred?
No, it feels like, it's barred from the opposite side, or at least blocked from the other side. Yeah. When you go to push it, it resists. You could probably squeeze through one of the windows, but it would be tight.
Yeah.
There are bigger windows on the upper level, but then you'd have to climb.
Well, should we go and have a look at the houses next to the river, the other buildings?
I think so.
We can come back
and
here.
If need be, we can leave the breaking and entering till we have to.
Yeah. All right.
So follow the tracks then, I guess.
This is where.
Can I take a look at the tracks? Does there seem anything unusual with them?
They're just, it's just, it's, yeah, it's just less worn, so that it's clear that they're not taken much further when they're so kind of loaded up near the longhouse. So whenever it's taken further than the longhouse towards the other buildings, it looks like it's for the sake of storage.
Right.
So when you round the house to follow the trail towards the other buildings, you can see up on the hill in the top of the back field, there are two figures near the edge of the woods, and one of them is waving. Assuming that my hands, Anyway, so one of them's waving.
Yep.
Wave back.
The waving stops, and the two figures are just stood there at the top of the hill.
Move towards them.
Well, it's easier to walk downhill. I motion for them to come over here.
There's no reaction from them. They remain observing you from afar at the top of the hill on the edge of the woods.
Take a wander over. How on earth are we going to speak to anybody? We don't speak Polish. They won't speak English.
Well, there's a little miracle at work for you there. One of the earliest inventions that Dee came up with was an artifact called the Black Amulet, and originally crafted from wax. He crafted it later in obsidian, and you carry a copy of this black seal or amulet on yourself on a cord around your neck. It's about the size of a large coin, and while you are wearing the black seal, you can understand and speak any language.
Okay.
But only while wearing it.
Is it a sigillant day?
It is the earliest instance of Dee making any sort of progress with the understanding of the language of angels. Yeah.
Okay.
So it is a hint of the true language, which allows you to speak and understand others, with a kind of neutral inflection. So it's difficult to perceive deceit or particular acts of unusual communication beyond just the straight exchange of words.
Right.
So the field, this back field behind the longhouse is actually the only field that looks as though it's previously had any work. It looks like it's the fallow field for this season. Effectively, it's been left untouched for the previous season. So the only evidence you really see is that it's patchy with thin grey-green grass in sort of stubby outcrops. But otherwise, the ground is soft and sort of ready to be planted for the new season. But it makes it fairly hard going, trudging up the soft dirt of the field.
Yeah, miserable fuckers.
Oh, especially for a person yourself who's the roughest surface that you've ever traversed. It would probably be a sort of one of the cheaper sort of velvet coverings or something.
This day is getting progressively worse.
As you once you get close to the two figures, they've just been stood still, observing your approach. Once you get within a couple of dozen meters, yards, whatever, you see that they are unusually proportioned, tall, thin, with bulbous heads. And when you get closer still, you see that they are a cross beam of wood with discarded and tatty clothes hanging off them, and turnips for heads with eyes and mouths gouged out. But you're absolutely certain that one of them was waving.
Oh, you made us walk all the way up here.
It has to be said, Fox, can you make a gonna make a roll? Crazy town. I know, but
you need to.
Yeah, I know. We're not going to just go total storytelling narrative craziness. We're going to actually use a die.
What am I rolling?
The worst possible die possible for you, which is a 4-sided die for your supernatural.
A big bad 2.
So, having you get an overwhelming. You got to the point where you realize they're scarecrows, but having got to that point, you feel both cold and hot at the same time. Your skin prickles. You feel a chill overwhelm you, and you smell blood. Indeed, you actually feel hot blood running down the front of your chest. Edgerton and Gage, you can hear a whimpering sound behind you, and looking over your shoulder, you see Fox is stood stock still, his face pale, and he's pissed his pants. Basically, he's just stood there, his trousers wet, and he's just stock still and staring into space.
What's he looking at?
He's staring in the direction of the scarecrows. From your perspective, Fox, it's just you have, it's like you just stepped into an abattoir. It's just the stench of hot blood and the sense that you are just sort of being drenched in a warm liquid.
Wake up, you silly bugger.
Can I look down and around myself?
You are drenched with crimson. And if you did what you're doing right now with your hands, you can feel there is a rough fleshy gap in your neck, and you then suddenly start gagging like you can't breathe. And externally, that's what you're seeing now. He's just his mouth is open, his tongue lolling, and his eyes are beginning to roll back in his head.
Smack. Pull yourself together, man.
All right, so Fox, you come to. You come to just with Gage pulling his clenched, slightly. It's not a punch wise. I doubt there was much going on there. This is.
I'm wearing gloves still.
It was a slap of a glove more than a punch. Yeah. But yeah, you realize where you are. You are now just cold and wet. And
you disgust me, Fox. You've just pissed yourself. What's going on?
Yes,
the day wasn't bad enough.
This place isn't right. We need to get about our business and get out of here.
What's wrong with you?
If I knew.
Scarecrows by name, scarecrows by nature. Scare fox, more likely, aren't they?
Something like that. If I knew, I'd either be a gibbering wreck or I'd be much more knowledgeable. One or the other. I'm not sure which way it would go.
Right. Well, I'm not going to walk next to you because you smell funny now.
I think that's probably fair. If I were you, I would have done the same.
Perhaps you could take the scarecrow's trousers. They're probably cleaner than yours.
Are they?
Right now, yes.
In which case, I will take the scarecrow's trousers.
The scarecrow's trousers don't smell of piss.
Yep. Scarecrow's trousers for me is then.
Okay. Yeah, the only real difference between the scarecrows is one is effectively slightly shorter than the other because the stake, the sort of crossbeam that it's mounted on, is driven harder into the ground. It's lower down. The clothes themselves perhaps a little smaller on the lower scarecrow. You take the trousers that best fit or suit. Although this is hardly a fashion parade.
Quite.
And replace your sodden trousers.
Well, all the horse traders will be wearing next season. Don't worry.
So
the horse traders are more worried about the horses than themselves. But
yeah, don't scare the horses.
Yes.
So what do you do?
Well, we trudge all the way back down the field again.
Yeah, head to these buildings.
Oh God, I hate this place.
You hate this place.
Yeah, you've got a fair point. I cede you the high ground. We'll just set fire to it and leave. I think that's probably best for it now.
It could well be. I have the sense that some terrible tragedy has happened here, and it's let's be about our business and get out of here, and then when we get back, ask Dee what the hell he thought he was playing at sending us here in the first place.
Yeah, let's hope that goes like that.
So, which of the two buildings are you heading towards? One of them is larger. The larger one is more clearly barn-like. It's 2 stories tall, with a what looks like a thin thatched roof.
But the smaller one is nearer to us, isn't it?
The smaller one is a couple of dozen yards closer. It is a stone building with a timber roof, a slanted timber roof.
Well, that looks more like a chapel-y thing, doesn't it?
But it's only sort of, it's basically one level and it's entirely enclosed. There's a door, but no windows or any way to see into it.
Let's head over there then.
Which way is it? It's facing east-west as well, and chapels face east-west, don't they? So it might be a religious building.
You are perhaps therefore disappointed when you get to it. It looks far less impressive and it's much smaller, with no sense of the pomp of any religious building, even after the sort of general massacre back home of all religious buildings by Elizabeth's dear father. It's when you try the door, it opens. It is effectively a storehouse. It contains various supplies, tools, farm tools. There's some rope, some oil, some lanterns. There are tools for hoeing and digging and working with the lands. There's a replacement. There's some horseshoes and various bits and pieces in here.
Is there a big hammer?
There is a large hammer, yes, suitable for knocking posts into the ground.
Or for enlarging windows?
It might need a bit of work to enlarge a window, but it's a possibility.
Right. Oh well, storeroom.
Yeah. Could be useful.
Does it have a wooden floor?
No, it's basically just beaten earth.
Okay. All right.
On to the next building then.
Yep. There's only one left.
Yeah, the larger one is it's clearly a barn. It's as I said, 2 stories tall. The entrance is facing roughly southward.
Yeah.
And that's where the you can see the shallow ruts of the cart, which is There's a double door entrance effectively, and when you open it, you can see there is indeed a cart inside. It has a ground level, a couple of barrels near the door, some more tools. There is an upper level that's accessible by a ladder. There is additional sort of supplies of feed and some bales of hay and so forth. But the building is big, clearly designed to, specifically to store the cart and potentially to give a place to store the animals if the weather was to turn particularly unpleasant and it be deemed necessary. Yep.
So is there hay in the above? Or?
Yes, there is hay in the loft.
Okay, so somewhere to sleep if we don't find anything better. All right, well, I guess we'll have to break into the other building then. Is there a ladder for going up to the hayloft?
Yeah, there's a ladder.
Oh, cool.
We'll borrow that then.
You're going to borrow the ladder.
Yep.
So we can get out into the upper story of the other building.
Yep.
Okay, so you go to remove the ladder and you see that there are, there's a like a dark stain on some of the rungs of the ladder.
Oh. Well, it might be because they've used it to hoist up the pig that they killed at harvest time, but I'm guessing there's somebody dead upstairs. Well, I'll go and look up there then.
Yeah, your turn.
Yeah.
Climbing to the top of the ladder, you can see that there is a dark stain in the wood of the floor, and that clearly that's whatever's stained it, whatever it might be, has dripped down onto the ladder. A distance away from where the ladder rises to the point where you can, see this. You can see that there are two bodies nestled amongst the hay in the loft of the barn.
Oh, right. Well, I found them.
Do they have any good trousers?
It's an important question.
As it happens, so the two bodies, one's they are lying kind of opposite each other, as if they've fallen away from each other. They are covered with blood on their chests, and they have both got slashes through the front of their throats. There are two blades lying on the ground covered with blood.
Oh, right, like they killed each other.
It would appear to be the case, some kind of mutual suicide.
Well, they do live in Poland.
And notably, having mentioned the trousers, one of them is wearing a pair that looks distinctly similar to the trousers that you're wearing now.
Right. So back at the scarecrows, essentially the thing that struck me that I thought I saw when you thankfully snapped me out of it.
Yeah.
Very much approximates to clearly what's happened to these people.
You were clutching at your throat.
Yeah. And I felt that there was blood running down my chest.
Oh, not piss running down your legs.
No. That came after.
Right. Well, it seems like your vision was true. They killed each other. It's unpleasant.
Yeah. And there's they just basically.
Is there any, do they have any Is there anything else around? Do they have any tattoos or anything, or any markings of any kind? Is there any magical accoutrements?
There's no markings or tattoos. A rummage, you find that one of them has a couple of copper coins, and also a small crucifix cross on a leather cord around his neck.
Right, well, Catholics.
Kelly's eyelash does nothing unusual other than carry on spinning in the presence of the crucifix.
Are they both men?
They are.
And how old are they?
You'd guess they were sort of their late 20s.
Right.
Elderly for the Polish population.
So it's kind of weird that time has stopped here when their time stopped. That's the feeling I'm getting. I don't know whether that's
as with the cows.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no, beyond the fact that they are clearly dead and that the sort of blood has settled in their bodies. There is no otherwise any real sense of a sign of decay. There's no sign of rot or maggots or flies or anything, which is key to keep repeating this stuff while David's eating. So if we can ramp up the unpleasant imagery, all the better. There's just a lot of blood. They clearly just bled out.
So they did this,
soaked into the timber.
They did this, and then times this might have caused it. It seems ritualistic, doesn't it?
It could be, definitely. The other option is that they get so sick and tired of living forever
that that could be the case as well. We don't know how long this has been going on.
No. What is clear to me is that there's no darn shrine around here.
There's no what, sorry?
No shrine around here.
Hmm.
Unless it's in the longhouse.
Well, we've got a ladder now. We can go and have a look.
Yeah, I think so.
You can't talk to spirits, can you?
I don't believe so. I've read books that purport to make that happen, but I myself don't have any skill in that direction. Sometimes you get a sense of things, but that's all.
Right.
You could try.
Yeah.
Based on your recollections of
okay. Well,
the necromancer.
I shall give it a go then.
But you are back to relying upon your D4.
My D4. Outstanding. Oh.
It doesn't like you.
R//RD4.
Oh.
No good. No bueno.
You just effectively he does the same thing again. There's except it seems to happen faster. He shudders. His eyes roll back in his head.
His trousers off first.
He loosens both his bladder and his bowels simultaneously.
Oh dear God!
And then collapses to his knees, sort of frothing. Effectively, you take a hit of damage as well as a result.
Okay.
Sort of, your spittle is flecked with blood. It's like he's had a seizure.
I go to the river and fetch some water in a bucket.
But for a moment, Fox, you have the same experience again, but now you instead of just the sense of hot blood running down your chest, you are looking towards the other man who has the same look about him. He is kneeling in front of you, and the knife in his hands, and that you're both in this hayloft on your knees facing each other. you've clearly just drawn the knife across each other's neck, the blood streaming from the open wounds, both gagging for breath as the blood sort of gurgles from your lips and the hole in your throat. And at the same time, though, you sense in your companion's eyes that it actually feels like it's affirming your thoughts to your colleague in reality, that this looks like a release rather than any other kind of ritualistic act. This is an opportunity for freedom, no matter how horrible. And then you come round having had Gage's glove slapped about your face again.
No, I fetched some water from the river this time.
Oh, right. Yeah, there you go. So
I did.
Freezing cold, freezing. Well, it's weird. Yeah. So weirdly enough, you take a bucket from the barn and go out to the river. You stumble down the bank slightly and scoop some water. And for a moment, the surface of the water is like a hollow, where there's a momentary sort of movement, and as you carry it back to the barn, it doesn't slosh in the bucket. But when you when you throw it, it's almost like throwing a ball of like snow rather than water. It doesn't splash out. It's like a sort of watery cannonball smacking him straight in the face, which then drops to the ground and begins to spread out in a like a melting snowball.
Wow. I didn't pour all the water on him because he needs some to clean up.
He's going to run out of trousers eventually, I think.
Well,
there's another pair up there.
The next pair, but that's the last time I'm doing that, I think.
So, your idea that they did it to escape seems...
Yeah, I think so.
That worries me.
It does a bit. I'm now thinking that
we shouldn't have crossed the bridge.
Yeah. Well, not so much just a bridge, because it was the other side of the water too, right?
Yeah, it was when we came out of the woods, wasn't it?
Exactly. The minute that compass went screwy.
Yeah.
So by all means we can take a look in the house, but I think we try and retrace our steps and see if we can get out.
All right. Well, we did. We walked back we walked back into the forest before, didn't we? Although the compass was still screwy, though.
Yeah. If this pair were staying here and killed themselves rather than get away, then I just feel like it's worthwhile seeing if we can get out of here. Making sure.
All right. Well, I'll carry the ladder over to the house on the way. And then we'll see.
You should have a look in anyhow, definitely.
Well, we can come back to it. I'll just carry the ladder.
Okay.
Yeah.
You two can carry the ladder. I'm wearing gloves. I don't want to damage my calf gloves.
Okay, I'll carry the ladder.
It cost 8 shillings, these do.
So leaving the barn, a casual glimpse towards the last known clean trousers. You can see, so you can see the scarecrows at the top of the field, or at least the figures at the top of the field. One of which is waving. Clearly, an arm is raised, impossibly, from where you know that there is a solidly affixed crossbeam in the across the pole.
I'm not going up there again.
But you take, you take the ladder, carry it over.
We'll go back to the house and
carry it over to the longhouse.
Yeah, whatever. He's running out of trousers. We can't go up there again.
Exactly.
And it's wrecking my boots as well.
Okay, so you get the ladder over to the longhouse.
Yeah.
So effectively, you then just leaving it there and heading back towards the bridge.
Yeah.
Am I interpreting correctly? Okay.
Yeah. So we'll come back and look in the house when we find we can't leave.
Well, so heading towards the bridge, you reach the bridge. You are sternly watched by the hen who met you, who takes a break from pecking furiously at the ground to give you a beady, watchful eye as you mount the bridge and cross over it.
All the wildlife has an opinion here, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And then beyond the bridge, looking back towards the way you came, you see at the edge of the woods, where previously the trail was open, the sort of roiling thick mist has settled in the eaves of the wood, and as you you cover the distance, which, as I said before, is probably half a kilometre.
Yeah.
Towards the edge of the fields, you can see that within the trees there is just nothing but a thick bank of murk and fog. You can't see beyond the edge of the tree line.
Through the weird mist.
You think we're going to be able to get out of here?
Oh, I don't like the look of it. I don't know.
It could be worth a try, but I think perhaps if we avail ourselves of some of that rope, somebody holds one end, one of us ties it round ourselves and goes into the fog, a few steps to see how far it goes, how much it thins out, but still able to get back if there's no end to it.
See if you can find a tree.
Yeah.
All right, we'll try with the rope from the barn.
And it's Fox going through, or?
And then the risk of my hosiery, yeah.
Okay. So with rope firmly affixed, Fox.
You're talking to us, Fox. If you disappear, we can at least hear you.
So yeah, you go into the thick, roiling mist.
I will sing a merry song.
Singing a merry song, which you, both Gage and Edgerton, you can hear.
Bring me my yellow hose again. Bring me my yellow hose.
And that's about as much as you hear before the sounds stops. And from your point of view, Fox, you go from the light of the farm into this roiling fog, and then you emerge again, looking down across the fields of the farm. Ahead of you, you can see the low form of the stone storage house, beyond which stands the barn, and on your left-hand side, you can see the glitter of the river. So, roughly speaking, you would be here.
What happens to the rope?
The rope's still attached to. It's still taut on your end, and indeed, from Fox's point of view, it's being tugged from behind. You can feel the rope being pulled.
And does it look any different?
In the distance, squinting down the field, you can see, here, you can see your friends. You probably can't see them holding a rope from here, but
okay.
I'll give the rope a tug.
I'll go back. Yeah, give it a tug and get reeled back in again.
Well, you disappeared. We couldn't hear you anymore.
Yeah.
Did you get out?
No.
Where did you go?
I'll motion for them to turn around
Mm-hmm.
See, just about there.
What, beyond the barn up there?
Yeah, that's where I went.
You came out there?
Yeah, there's some sort of closed loop type thing here.
Oh, like one of those Mobius strips that Doctor Dee told me about.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah.
That doesn't. Well,
Have we
right.
seen any signs for this this settlement at all? Nothing like Royston Vasey or something.
No, there were no signs of any kind.
It's a local barn for local people. Yeah. Do you think Dee just got fed up with us and said that's why he sent us here?
Distinct possibility. That you were due to be paid at the end of the month.
No,
You got a distinct sense that it was either you or, you know, a couple of pies.
You've been furloughed.
yeah.
Okay. I think we've got to solve this to get out.
Right.
I think
Well,
so.
let's go and look in the house then.
Yeah. Back
Okay.
to the house with the ladder and the rope.
Okay, so yeah, back at the longhouse. Back at the longhouse. So the only, as I said, you've got the windows on the ground floor, but you've got the only windows in the building on the upper floor are towards the back of the building.
Yep.
There's basically just one puncturing the either side, east and west, and that's it. But they are bigger than the ground level.
Well, we've got a ladder and a hammer, so
Yes, you are well equipped for the ascent.
Yeah.
Who is ascending?
somebody big and beefy.
I think
I'm
that's
not
back
very
to me then, is it? I've a D8 in physical.
Yeah.
I'm a D6, so
I shall shrug and sigh and make my way up the ladder.
It's always you, isn't it, Fox? You poor bugger.
My lot in life, it would appear.
So, okay, so the possession of the ladder makes it all the more easy. And you find that so the window is similar. It has there is a shutter on the outer side, and there is a tattered greying curtain on the inside. The inside of the room is wreathed in shadow. There's no source of light. It has to be said at this point, and this is probably worth noting, now that you're stood here, gazing into the shadows of the house, you look up and realize, and it probably had occurred to you earlier, that it's still early afternoon, and you could have sworn you've been here for hours. So your earlier assumptions are spot on. It just feels like the place is almost frozen. The sun is still high in the sky. It's past noon, but there's no sense of any progression of time. So within the shadows of the room, you can see that there is a bed. There's a scattering of furniture, some kind of furniture for like storage, boxes, a chest. And it looks like there's somebody in the bed.
Okay.
But you will have to squeeze in through the window.
I will squeeze in through the window then.
You do so, and you are make a physical roll,
Okay.
and we'll see whether it's just utter bad luck that's leading to this string of ones and twos. Oh, well done. Well done on breaking that. So you make it through without any kind of problem. On the other side, you make not a sound as you drop to the floor. And you do not disturb the person in their bed, or indeed make any sound that would disturb anyone else in the property were they to be listening. The room is dusty and smells unused, and there is actually a stink of rot in here.
Is there any rise or fall to the body?
There is no rise or fall to the body. Indeed, on top of that, there is a dark crimson stain halfway up the bed covers over over where the body lies. It is the body of a woman. Her hair sort of splayed out across the pillow beneath her of straw beneath her head, and yeah, there is no movement from her chest.
Okay. In which case, I'll leave the room, head towards the door, unbar it, and let the others in.
Okay, so beyond the door of the bedroom, there is you find you're on a horseshoe shape upper sort of walkway around the edge of the building, which looks down across into the main body of the area, which contains a large table, which is scattered with food and jugs of drink, and one of what looks like it's got milk in it. There is a fire pit which is unlit. There are straw pallets or beds against the walls on either side, enough for sleeping half a dozen people. And coming in the way you do, looking across the building, on the far side there is the door, and there is a stair that leads down from the horseshoe-shaped platform that you're on, which comes down near where the door is. But immediately down beneath you, at the head of the table, facing away from you, there is there's a man at the table. And as you step out onto the horseshoe-shaped platform, without turning towards you, he says, "You're late." Without turning, just speaks up.
My apologies. We were here earlier, but nobody answered the door.
I never heard you. I just expected you.
Very good. Well, I'm here now. Would you mind if I let my companions in?
By all means. The food's ready. You may as well eat. You go down to the door, and there's a bar over the inside of the door, which you remove.
Yeah. Open it up.
Mm-hmm. You call around to your companions.
I do indeed.
Anything happening? Did we hear voices?
Yes. Well, sorry. There's a gentleman inside who's apparently been waiting for us. There is some food and drink. But I feel like there should be some form of. I mean, we've been hanging around Dee long enough to know that there should be some sort of thing to promise no harm or stuff like that to those that come in, and it feels like if we eat and drink without some sort of I don't know, covenant in place, that we might be forced to doing things against our will or something like that. I don't know.
You can only hope.
The rules of hospitality of Fairyland are very different.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask the farmer then. I take it we can rest assured of good hospitality from yourself.
There's food on the table. There are beds for you to sleep in.
Who are you?
My name is Slavomir. I'm the owner of this farm. He looks tired, drawn. He looks disheveled, perhaps a little dirty. His eyes are
red.
So red. He has a
You've been waiting long.
For you?
Yeah.
I expected you earlier.
Well, we knocked on the door. Nobody answered.
I never heard you. I told your friend. Perhaps you should beat harder upon the door next time.
Well,
judging by your hands, however, and your general demeanour, I doubt that you've ever had to exert your strength on your own behalf ever before either.
Well, no. I don't really know what I'm doing here.
So, why are you waiting for us?
I had a letter saying you were going to arrive, along with a purse of coin.
A letter from whom?
I don't know. He shows you a letter. Simply says, expect their arrival.
Is it written in English or Polish or something weird?
It's written in something weird. When you look at the words on the page,
yeah,
you get a kind of a queer sort of uneasy feeling in the pit of your stomach, and your eyes kind of you want to blink hard whenever you look at the words.
Right.
It's nothing. You've read stuff before using the amulet, and it's not the same sensation. It's just there's something odd with these words. But
okay. So we've arrived now, but the question is, how do we leave?
You follow the trail. What do you mean?
There's a funny mist.
Funny mist. Funny drink, more like.
And there's the two dead men in the barn.
Sleep, probably.
What?
Asleep, probably.
No, their throats have been cut.
Nonsense. You're talking about Mislav and Dabragost. For heaven's sakes, they're just lackadaisical ne'er-do-wells, always drinking too much of the weak beer to do anything but lie there and sing.
There's blood. There's blood. Their throats have been cut.
Probably slaughtering chickens.
They cut each other's throats.
Nonsense and fancy.
All right, if we give you this person money, what do we get for it?
What purse of money? The money's mine already. He points to there's a small purse on the table in front of him.
Okay.
Did you give him the purse?
No.
No, he already had it.
Oh, right.
It came with the letter.
Oh, right. Sorry, I thought you said something about it.
2 days ago, it was on the doorstep. A letter underneath the purse.
Can I have another look at this letter?
Mm-hmm.
It's written on paper.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a bit suspicious about this. I want to examine the. Is it a hand I recognise?
It's it's just normal script. It's not a recognizable handwriting as such. I mean, if only because your eyes are almost refusing to look at it properly. There is perhaps a hint of Dee's slant to his writing, but even then,
it's not signed with a little delta.
No.
Right.
So you're expecting us. We have arrived.
And there's food. By all means, eat.
Yes. Do you have anything else for us?
Beds? What else are you wanting? I was
Is
expecting...
there perhaps a shrine near here? We were sent to look for a shrine. You were told to expect us. Therefore...
A shrine? Oh, I think you're a little late for that. The shrine The shrine rotted into nothing years ago.
Where
Where
was
was
it?
Beyond the bridge. My father built it after he gave up being a man of religion. He set it aside and decided to farm the land. For a time, there was a shrine there.
Could you show us precisely where?
No.
Could you show us roughly where?
I really rather not. My wife is unwell. I don't really want to leave the house while she's sick. Not when she's got the baby to nurse.
Can't hear a baby.
Sleeping. She's been ill.
All right. Well, I hope she gets better. I'm going to go and look. You said just beyond the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, going out, passing the chicken sentry on one side of the
Yep.
bridge, crossing over, you can see that there it's heavily overgrown, but there's clearly a mark where something at one point was driven into the ground. It's about a foot square, a kind of indentation in the ground where it's been disturbed, but it's there's clearly nothing there, and Kelly's eyelash continues to spin.
So, I'm an archaeologist. I know about treasure hunting and shallow graves.
And you are absolutely certain, looking at it, the actual way that the ground has been disturbed,
Yeah.
that there was clearly somebody had dug a hole. Effectively, you might even expect there to be some sort of reinforcement, some sort of what's the word I'm after? Some weight to it beneath the ground, maybe a stone or something that it was secured to. But yeah, clearly there was some kind of small structure here. Probably, judging by the lack of evidence, it was made of wood and it's simply just rotted away. But yeah.
It takes a long time for wood to rot away.
Digging down, you do find remnants underneath the earth. It is there is effectively, you find what is the bottom of a box,
Right.
buried sort of in the ground up to about a foot and a half underneath. You have to scrape through about half a foot of earth, and then you find the remnants of a timber box, a foot square, with rocks in the base of it.
Right.
But there's nothing else that's left of it.
Well, that's a pisser, isn't it?
Yeah. What was it we were supposed to retrieve again?
A relic.
A relic.
Well, Laughing Boy might know where it is, I suppose.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody threw it in the river.
A relic.
Oh, we can go back and talk to him about it. We probably know more about it. Right.
Slavomir stares at you. He is he sort of repeats what he said before. His father was a preacher. He gave up being a preacher about 60 years ago and became a farmer. Effectively, he built like a small shrine almost as a kind of a full stop to his career, just to mark the end of it and the beginning of something else. And the family has lived here ever since.
Does he know anything about a relic? Do you know anything about a relic?
There used to be. There used to be. He there used to be like a plate for receiving like offerings and gifts. Occasionally, I remember as a child that people might used to come to the farm, and they would leave whatever they could afford, a coin or a morsel of food or even a flower. But I don't remember a relic.
Could you describe the plate?
He holds up a wooden plate that's lying on the table in front of him and says, like this, but like ready gold, sort of metal, thin, hammered, beaten.
Okay.
Well,
Don't suppose handily any plates like that holding food or sitting on the table?
No, everything around the table is all the plates are wooden. And there's no evidence. I mean, around the room, there's a few sort of ornaments, but no metal plates. And you don't recall seeing anything like that in the bedroom upstairs.
No.
treasure.
Yeah.
I know a bit about finding treasure.
Yes, you do.
We're going to need a bowl of water. It's a bit like Kelly's thing, you know.
Yeah.
Points the treasure. We need. It's reddish. Did you say the plate was red?
Ready gold.
Yeah. We need something ready gold, hopefully. Or we got anything red? I mean, your trousers.
Yeah.
Well, there's a load of blood up there. Oh, well, blood's good. I'll get some of that.
Okay.
I'll fleck the blood onto the bowl of water.
Okay.
Then do the spell to try and point towards where the plate is. Or get a vision of where the plate is.
Okay. Make a roll a six-sided.
Okay. Oh. 5.
So, you, for a moment, you are, the longhouse is gone. It's dark and it's snowing and you're cold. And in front of you, you can see the bridge. And next to the bridge, there is a, it's almost coffin shaped. It's just a narrow column of wood, like an open cupboard or coffin. One side is open with a little shelf in it. And on that shelf, even from the distance where you're standing, you can see there's a plate. And on that plate, there are, around the plate, there are scattered coins and bits of food, flowers. On the plate, you can see, at first, it just looks like a plate, but then you can see that there's a sliver of something lying on the plate. And stepping closer, you can see what appears to be a splinter of bone or wood on the plate, barely the length of a needle. And then you're back in the room.
There was somebody left something on the plate, like a piece of wood, a splinter of wood. That was the relic, I think.
Slavomir shakes his head, says, "It's such a long time ago, I don't remember."
Well, if it was 60 years ago, you weren't around, were you?
My father gave up being a preacher 60 years ago, but the shrine was still there when I was a young boy.
Right. So, a piece of the true cross?
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
What other bits of wood are there? One of the arrows that pierced St. Sebastian? I don't know. A bit of the true cross, though, in this shithole.
Which isn't going to make it any easier to find. If it's a bit of wood, there's bits of wood all over the darn place.
Well, there's one person we haven't talked to. Actually, there are two people we haven't talked to.
You're on your own.
No, I don't mean those. I mean upstairs. Mrs. and the child.
Yeah, I think they're dead. But yeah, go for it by all means. I turn to our farmer friend and say, don't suppose you have any trousers you're not using?
I'm a bit confused because you haven't told us they're dead until now. So.
True. This is true. I should have said so here.
I have some spare clothes, but I'd rather not disturb my wife while she's resting.
Where can we rest? Upstairs?
He points towards the pallets of straw on either side of the room. There's three sort of low wooden pallets of straw scattered across the top, and there's like folded woolen blankets.
How do you get upstairs from here?
There's a stair near the door at the front of the house. You passed it on the way in.
All right, I'll go upstairs then. I'll just ignore what he's saying.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, he's sitting over there. I'm already going upstairs.
He stands up with difficulty. He has to sort of press his fists down onto the surface of the table and pushes himself up. And he begins walking around, but he's really unsteady. And it looks like he just hasn't walked for a very long time. And yeah, so you're already up the stairs and going around the horseshoe-shaped sort of platform at the top until you get to the door at the back, which leads into a sort of large bedroom at the back of the building.
Yeah.
Wreathed in shadow, stench of sort of decay in the air and must and dust. There's sort of particles of dust drifting in the wan light that's coming through the window. You can see there's a chest at the foot of the bed. There's a kind of dresser to one side with a stool in front of it, and on the dresser you can see that there's a crucifix with a little figure of the Christ on the front and a small book next to it, which you assume to be the copy of the Bible or a book of prayer. And yes, in the bed there is a still figure lying, but you can see a dark stain in the midst of the blanket.
Well, I'm looking. I've kind of got an idea that I know what's happened. I'm looking for the splinter, so I'm going to pull the bedclothes. I want to see if it's anywhere near the woman.
So and pull the bedclothes. Underneath the bedclothes, the woman is dead. She's still in a sort of in a shift. There is blood all over her torso and legs, and soaked into the blanket. And
she's just given birth.
There is the sign of that the blood is heaviest there. Yes, but there's no sign of any baby or any remnants of the birth.
Yeah.
And there's no sign of any splinter either.
Is he coming into the room yet?
You can hear a creak from the stairs. He's way behind you. The other two of you can see, he is having a lot of difficulty moving.
I'm going to move to the window.
Okay.
Where the ladder is outside.
Okay.
Just if I need an escape route.
Okay. It's a lot. You have a long wait. He does finally get to the
Well, I'll
door.
search round. If he's still a long way, I'll search in the Bible and look round and see if there's anything tucked under, hands or anything.
I'll shout up from below. Trousers.
Did you say there was a chest there?
Sorry, what was the question?
Did you say there was a chest at the bottom of the bed?
Yes. Yeah.
I'll have a look in that.
So the chest contains folded clothes, which you do find a pair of trousers. There is also clothes for the child, and there's also, you notice, a kind of rough remnants of what looks like a cot in one corner, not yet complete. But yeah, you find some trousers. The book is just the Old Testament by the looks of it, and it's all in Latin. But it looks like a particularly old book, very old, well worn, well thumbed.
Right.
The cross with the Christ is also very old. Looks like it might be silver, tarnished slightly, but no remnants or anything which would suggest the presence of a splinter or piece of wood. He finally reaches the door.
The cross itself is made of wood, isn't it?
So the cross that you've got here is actually it's all made of silver. It's only a very small figure, but it's silver.
All right, well, I'll leave that alone. It's Catholic anyway. It's slightly dodgy.
Ever so slightly, yeah.
Yeah.
Bloody Pope.
What's the guy's name? I've forgotten. You did say.
Slavomir.
So Slavomir.
Yeah, so he sort of almost hangs from the door frame, keeping his balance. He's puffing, red-faced.
You've got to realise this has got to come to an end.
He stares at the bed where you've pulled the covers away, and just lets out a howl and drops to his knees. Starts sobbing. What have you done?
A terrible thing.
What have you done?
I haven't done anything.
You killed her.
No, I didn't.
You killed my wife. What have you done to my baby?
The baby is not here. What have you done to the baby?
What have you done?
You can't keep it like this forever, She's dead. You have to let go. You have to bury her. It's not Christian. You've got to say goodbye.
Weeping, sobbing, hammering the ground with his fists feebly.
Yeah, I shout against God all you like, but it's not going to change anything.
What's Edgerton and Fox doing at this point?
Toddle up the stairs as well.
Okay.
See what we can do to console Slavomir.
What about Edgerton?
I'm going to have a look around downstairs, see around that room if there's anything I can see, particularly around where he was sitting.
So the seat that you sat on actually has like an embroidered cushion. It's got like patterns of like pastoral sort of patterns, sheafs of wheat and so forth, and around the edge you can see that it has the name sort of Slavomir on one side and Elena on the other, and then the sheaves and patterns all interweave, and that's what he's been sat against on the chair. And now you look at it, there's a few other pieces around the room, sort of small pieces of embroidery, either as sort of small pillows or little keepsakes that are put up on the wall. The fire pit behind where he's sitting looks like it hasn't been lit in a long time. There's plenty of firewoods, and there's that the time you've been in here, it's just chill and dark. it could really do with a fire, but it's clearly he's been sat. It's just been sat. Clearly, just been sat there. The food is stale. It looks like, but still edible on the table. It's not gone off. But you know, the bread is slightly hard, and the other things on the table seem fine. But you have no idea how long they've been sat there for, or indeed how long Slavomir has been sat there.
Right. Can I see out of the windows downstairs? Is there anything odd I can see?
So make a supernatural roll.
That's a D4. Oh my god, get the wrong. Well, good.
So the only thing you can see.
Quick, I'll whip my pants off.
All you can see is that at the top of the hill there are the two figures. You feel like they're almost, as you look out the window, that you're being stared back at, and you can see the tall figure is waving down and then lowers its arm.
Okay.
But the field itself hasn't changed. There's still no wildlife out there. No, it's almost eerie. There's nothing. You can't even hear the distant sound of nature in the woodlands, the sound of animals, or and there's no sign of birds flying. But you can see that at the top of the field, the mist is still there, encroaching, just sort of tendrils of it seeping out from between the trees. You can still see the sky, but at ground level, this mist seems to be all encompassing in every direction.
Okay.
You do get an unsettling feeling, though, nevertheless, that you're watched, and it's more than just the scarecrows at the top of the field. And then you put your trousers back on. Yeah. So, Fox, having got to the bedroom, Gage is able to offer you a pair of trousers from the chest.
Excellent.
You do have to step over the weeping, sobbing form of Slavomir to get to your change of clothes. But
yeah, I don't think there's much we can do for him.
We've got to bury his wife. He's got to let go of it all. He's done something here. He's stopped everything. He's got to let life back in and grieve and let go.
Ah,
you're not going to start singing, are you?
no.
Might give you an extra reward if you do. No, Karen.
No.
Really
nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
Plus, I don't know it. I don't have children, so
well, that's fine. I'm sure we can find a karaoke version online.
Everybody at work knew it. It was just weird. One person would start humming it, and then everybody who had children would join in. It's just like a cult.
There you go. Okay, so having changed your trousers, Fox, what are you doing?
I think I see the sense in burying Elena.
Yep, you've got
laying her to rest.
You got the tools for it. You know that there are tools for it in the store, and you're able to do just that. You dig.
Well, I want to get Slavomir to be involved because it's his wife. He has to let go. He's the one who has to let go.
He is. He tries as best he can to assist. He is terribly weak, and
that's
you notice
fine.
how. Yeah, you notice how slight he is in the light beyond the house.
Yeah.
But yes, he does what he can to help you get tools enough for all of you, and dig a hole deep enough to put her to rest in the ground.
I mean, essentially, it's Fox who's going to do most of the digging.
Yep.
I see myself more in a supervisory sort of management capacity.
Yeah, I'll stake out a 6 foot long square, and we'll have to make a box.
Well, I mean, I say make a box. I mean, I'm willing to supervise what Fox.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how to do carpentry.
Yes, but if while you're making your box, you can put together some a rudimentary sort of clipboard that I can hold, can hold.
Yeah.
And,
a list of things we can tick off as you do them. Sorry, I can tick off as you do them. That's how it works.
yes. So you.
I think we've all put in a very decent effort today. Well done.
I'll make a mental note to see to gauge his horses when I get back.
So yeah, you finish laying us to rest. It's a little afternoon. The sun is still high in the sky, and you know, as you've been burying her, you have been observed from afar by the 2 scarecrows at the top of the field. One of which occasionally offers a waving greeting.
Very good.
Slavomir, as I said, tries his best to help. He ends up pretty much sort of sitting down nearby and watching tears.
Yeah, exactly. It's just he needs to be involved. He doesn't have to do a lot. He just needs to feel like he's part of it. And he can read from the Bible as well.
He mutters a few words. It looks at best he might have a smattering of the Latin necessary to do that. Yeah, so you've done it. Buried.
Yeah.
Okay. Any change?
There isn't, other than the fact you're sore and tired.
Well, that shows some progress.
It was a good notion.
Indeed.
I wonder if you went over to where the shrine was and did your findy spelly thing again, might you be close enough to grab said relic back in time?
I don't know. Seems a bit. You can't. Can you touch visions usually?
Don't know.
But that said, now I know I'm looking for a splinter rather than a plate.
Mm.
Why do those guys on the hill keep waving at us?
I don't know. That's the only other avenue, I think. Although if we toddle up there and there's nothing much doing, then I'm minded just to kick them down to the ground for mocking us.
I think if you're going up there, the first thing we ought to do is wash one of the other pairs of trousers.
Well, quite, yes.
And when I say we,
I think I might just do that. I'll take a spare.
Right. Should we light a fire as well in the house? Get some heat in there, bit of cheer.
Mm. Okay.
Does it burn at all?
Well, there is heat.
Yeah.
There is a sense of fire. It's slightly unsettling.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is firewood next to the pit which you put on, and you set a fire to it. But yeah, it's odd. It's yeah, it's like the look of a fire and the feel of a fire without it really looking or feeling like a fire.
Yeah.
And it adds
kind of the ideal of a fire without being an actual fire.
It's like one of those ones from the 70s, which had that kind of whirly fan type thing behind it, intending to make the fire look like it's moving, but in fact it's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much like one of those. Yeah. So you set a fire. Fox, is it just you going up the hill?
Well, I think I need somebody else to come with.
I'm not going with you, but I'll stay here and look after Slavomir. I'll see if there's any booze around and give him a slug of Polish vodka or whatever they've got. Toast his wife. Say some nice things about her.
So you trudge back up the hill, and at the base, when you're just leaving the longhouse, you do get a wave from up there. But as you get closer, within a couple of dozen yards, you can clearly see that these are, again, scarecrows up on their cross-beamed poles with their turnip heads and their bedraggled clothes. Most of them, notably, are wearing trousers. And it's perhaps a moment of bizarre realization that you are not. I mean, as in, so you had, what did you do with the trousers that you took off?
The trousers I took off, I guess I would have just left them by the scarecrows.
Well, when you took, no, as in the ones that you took off before you put Slavomir's trousers on. So you left them at the farmhouse?
Yes.
So it looks like they've made their way up here because they're on the scarecrow. The scarecrow, both are wearing trousers.
Right. So we need to do a bit of trouser arithmetic here because there's our trouser genealogy or something, because there was one pair of trousers, right?
Yeah.
That I was wearing originally.
Yes.
That should be lying by the scarecrows.
Are lying at the base of the scarecrows, yeah.
They're still there.
Yes, they are.
Right. Then there's another pair of trousers that was taken off one of the dead people.
It was taken off the scarecrow.
So the trousers from the scarecrow should be in the barn.
Okay.
Because he tried it again in the barn and it went worse then.
That's right.
Yes.
So to change his trousers a second time.
Yes.
Then the trousers from the barn are in the farmhouse.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing Slavomir's trousers.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So which pair are the scarecrow wearing?
Yes.
They look like the trousers that the scarecrow was originally wearing.
Right.
But they're not stains with your evacuations.
Right.
He's had them dry cleaned.
Yep.
Yes, standards.
Unlike Fox, the scarecrow has standards.
Yep. Yeah, Fox by name.
We had a fox come in our house last week.
Was it wearing trousers?
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, there you go.
Oh, exactly.
It's a pattern.
Oh dear. So what does that mean? That means we're back where we were beforehand.
Yeah.
Can I still see the grave site down the hill?
Yes, so you can see the grave just outside the longhouse. Notably, because you've got the vantage point of the hill, you can also see, oddly enough, that there is a patch of what looks like white in this field across the river. And it stands out purely because the ground, as I said, is just the stubble of the last crop. So against the dirt,
Right.
the white stands out.
Right. I shall go in search of the white.
Yeah, I'll go with him. With the two scarecrows right at the top of the map that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Okay. Go back via the bridge.
Yeah.
Rather than in a straight line.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough, because the river is quite wide, and despite the fact you suspect you could cross it, given the fact that it doesn't actually seem to be flowing. Yeah, okay, you detour
You pick me
down
up at the
towards
house.
bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We'll tell you what we're doing.
So where are we going?
What they're doing is they're proposing to trudge into another field.
What's down there?
A patch that's where the ground looks different.
Okay. How did you see that?
From up on the hill by the scarecrows, we could see down
Right.
directly to the south of the
Yeah.
southern side of the river.
Whilst ruminating upon trousers.
Yes.
All right. It's not a magical discipline I was aware of.
It's clearly something you're going to add to the game mechanics, Paul. You need a trouser counter and a trouser location marker for your Roll20 map.
Hoseomancy or something.
Yes.
Probably. Hoseomancy. I'm a hoseomancer. I foretell the future in people's pants.
Gone all unknown armies.
Brachymancy. No, bracca is Latin for trousers.
Oh, there you go. Brachymancy. Fantastic. I will be adding a brachymancy subsection. I told you you'd be responsible.
It's all right. I'll happily take credit for that.
Yeah, they are, David. You're in the credits.
There you go.
Marvellous.
Play tested the trouser rules.
Your trousers seem to have travelled in time as well.
Yeah. In fact, you're going to need one of these tables that your old D100 and see precisely what it is that happens to the trousers whomever is wearing. It's like a sanity table, but for trousers.
So, away from trousers, you cross this field. As I said, this is probably as a tougher walk as the field to the north of the river, because it is just full of just these sharp stubs of stubble from the previous crop sticking out of the ground. So you're picking your way around it. But when you get to the opposite side of the bridge, the opposite side of the field, having crossed the bridge and crossed the field, you can see this patch. And the closer you get to it, you can see that it is at first, from your point of view, Gage, having seen sort of like chalk pits and stuff, your first guess is it might be chalk or maybe even lime or something, although it would seem odd to have it scattered in such an odd place in a field. But when you get close enough, you can see that it is a couple of yards square, and it's quite clearly snow.
Oh, right.
And close enough, you can see that there are flakes of snow falling from above and landing in this small area of the field.
Time to dig, I think.
Yep. Good job we thought about that and brought some shovels with us.
Well, it's a short trip back to the gravesite and then back across.
Indeed, yeah. But
I mean, what else does one do in a field?
I would imagine that by this point you would be carrying, you know, basic tools for digging and a spare pair of trousers, just to be safe. Just as standard kit, to be honest.
And I bought Slivermere's vodka as well, because, you know, it's cold. Well, it should be cold, but it isn't.
So who is it that's digging?
Take a wild guess.
Is it Fox by any chance?
I guess so.
Well, if we tried and made a mess of it, you'd only have to come and pick it up and deal with the mess that we'd made and then dig a hole.
Yeah, and frankly, we're running out of trousers.
Yeah, so here, have a slug of vodka. That'll cheer you up.
Okay. I'm going to presume that I don't need to make a digging roll. I can dig.
Yeah. It's not that kind of system. There's no digging skill. There probably is one out there which has a digging skill. This isn't that game. So what? You just digging in the middle of this patch, or?
I'll look back over at the foreman.
Is there any previous signs of digging here?
Well, it's a field. It's definitely been dug at some point. There's no signs of excavation, but it's a working field. There's
nothing different from this patch apart from the snow.
No.
I'm going to do the light a bit of something or other thing again, and hold it outside the square, as it were, and then move it inside it.
Okay.
Hold it inside it.
The only difference is when you're holding your hand inside it with this lit piece of straw, is that you can feel the flakes of snow landing on your skin, and it's cold.
The bit of straw doesn't burn quicker inside the area.
No.
Oh,
lost
Chris.
Chris has vanished. No.
Okay. Oh well, there goes that idea.
Does the sky look different?
The sky?
Above the white?
No. Other than that, there's clearly flakes of snow falling. So you can see them sort of descending from above. He went to get a spare pair of trousers just to be on the safe side.
Yep.
Good man.
My internet went.
Oh.
Right.
So I was going for plan B there, but it's come back. So.
Yeah. Only Zoom went. You were still registered on the.
It must be persistent. Yeah.
Both PCs decided there was no internet.
Marvelous.
Rude.
I just went and got the a Wi-Fi hotspot, so never mind. Anyway, at least I'm here.
You're ready if it happens again.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, Fox put his hands in. Or Gage did. Yeah, it's just cold, and there's clearly snow falling, but no difference to the sky, otherwise.
I sort of had a theory that there was something underneath it that was allowing a difference of condition or time to pass normally.
That's why I was looking through the snow on the surface to see if there was anything there, but it's just snow. Well, we might as well dig. We've got.
Yeah.
Sorry, when I say we.
Yeah. We'll get a digging then.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Fox, you step in to dig at the snow into the ground.
If we move the snow around, does it stay on the ground?
So from it has to be said, from Gage and Edgerton's point of view, when Fox steps in to dig the ground, he disappears.
Oh, Fox. Fox.
I'll step back out again.
There's no response. From your point of view, you are now stood in a field. You're now stood in a patch of bare ground in a field of snow that's covered with snow. There's snow falling from the sky. It's dark. There is light in the distance coming from windows in a building a good way away. But it's dark, and there's no sign of your two companions.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I put my hand in there. I don't go in, but I just feel where he went.
There's nothing. There's nothing to feel. It's just open air with crisp flakes of snow falling on your pristine courtier's doublet.
Yeah.
What happens if I move off the patch and into towards the house? Take a step towards the house.
You just tread with a satisfying crunch into the snow on the ground. You can see that there's a dusting of flakes beginning to settle on the open bare patch of ground.
Right. And is there still a bare patch of ground on their side? Or a white patch of ground?
You have no idea.
I have no idea. No.
All you know is looking back. There's this bare patch of ground. There's the looming darkness of the forest, the woods on the edge of the field. You can hear the sound of the water somewhere to the north of
so
you.
I essentially can see it's basically a mirror image, right? It's reversed. There's one patch of ground that is clear of snow still here.
There is a clear area which is now beginning to. You can see there are spots of snow beginning to settle in the on the patch.
So Edgerton, I don't know where he's gone. He might have come out on one of the other sides. I don't know, but clearly we're in the bad place, and it's possibly not any worse where he's gone. So do you think
we should go there?
I think we should, just because it can't be any worse than where we are now.
No.
At least that's my guess.
So
it might be a bit colder. So
I'll step into the patch.
I'm coming with you. I'm grasping your
arm.
Coming
with me, okay?
Yeah, I don't want to lose you as well.
Oh.
So Paul.
That was me randomly putting a spot. So yes, you are there. So yeah, you find yourself. You're in a field. The field is covered with snow, and Fox is stood in the snow, shovel in one hand, sort of gazing at the landscape as you emerge into this area that is relatively free from snow. But
I think we should head over to the house and bang at the door.
I think we should head over to the shrine and see if it's
Shrine.
there.
Yeah, because there's something by the bridge now.
Okay.
I can see
Let's
something.
head over to the shrine then. It's covered up. I've got still got the longhouse and farmer pictures there.
so you can see that there is light coming from the longhouse.
Yeah.
And as you cross the fields, trudging through the crunch of the snow, you can feel the sort of give of the ground beneath you. It's very cold. The sky is clear. There are stars scattered everywhere in the sky above you. And as you get close to the bridge, you can see two things which stand out. Next to the bridge, there is a narrow, almost coffin-like structure, as high as an average man.
Can we take a look at the eyelash?
The eyelash is pointing directly towards this coffin-like structure. on the opposite side of the track, nearer to you than this, there is a there are a couple of balls of snow, one much larger than the other. The smaller one is balanced on top, and as you come closer, a boy steps out from behind the snowman, carrying a third ball of snow, which he is trying to raise up to a height sufficient to rest on top. He struggles for a moment, tries to balance it, and it topples over the opposite side, at which point he jumps up and down, sort of laughing, and walks around the snowman to pick up the third ball of snow when he notices you stood in the field.
Hey, hello, Slavomir.
He looks at you quizzically and, how do you know my name?
Oh, we're old friends of acquaintances of your parents. They said that they'd had a wee boy. We haven't been here for some time.
You notice he's probably no more than 8 or 9 years old, and the only obvious thing that stands out about him is that he has a relatively fresh scar over his left eye, where there is a sort of a streak from above his brow down to the middle of his cheek, and it looks relatively recent. He looks back towards the snowman and back towards you and says, can you help me finish the snowman?
Of course.
Good. Thank you.
I'm relatively adept. Gage here is as an exceptional supervisor.
With a clipboard and everything.
I'm going to look at the shrine whilst he's distracting Slavomir.
Yep.
So yeah, you've got this narrow wooden post with a little ledge in the middle. The ledge has a reddish gold plate on it, rough beaten, with various offerings around it. And in the middle of the plate, there is a sliver of almost bone-coloured wood, about 2 inches long.
So I'm going to nick that and surreptitiously sort of turn slightly away from them, move it away from the shrine and point the eyelash. Does it point straight at it?
Yes.
Into my pocket.
So I wonder if it isn't the removal of the relic that condemns this poor place.
Quite possibly. Do we have to get back to the spot?
I think we just have to get out of the woods. Just take the trail again, potentially. Sure.
I don't know. When are we?
When are you?
We think was it 60 years before?
Yeah. So Fox, do you want to? We don't want to stay here.
No, but none of it makes sense, right? If time was going slower, and we've come 60 years before, plus, as you said before, we were in the wrong place. Okay, I see what you're saying. Is the thought that if we take the relic back?
Slavomir, who's king at the moment?
How dare you challenge the GM with something he hasn't got written down?
Not the person that's king at the moment.
Not Bathory.
Damn you. Vladislav II.
There you go.
Oh, of course.
Vladislav II.
Yeah.
Isn't that good King Wenceslas?
Grand Duke of Lithuania.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Well, it's a very fine snowman you have here, Slavomir.
Thanks. Thanks for helping me.
Oh, you're very welcome. If I can just leave you with one item of advice for the future.
Advice?
Yes. It might seem strange, but in later years you'll come to realise the import of it. Always have a spare pair of trousers.
You're funny.
You don't even know the half of it. It's important though. Be sure to remember.
I've got to
keep
go.
it in the chest at the bottom of your bed.
He giggles, jumps up and down, and then he runs towards the bridge, back towards the house. I've got to tell them that. It's so funny. I've got to tell them.
Right. We're going back to the spot on the ground.
So you reach the spot on the ground. It's still obvious where it is. And so you reach the patch. The snow is still falling around you, and it's falling on that spot, as I said. So it's kind of half covered. However, stepping into it, there is no sensation of change. There is no light of day. There is still the dark of this wintry night.
It's obviously not the way that we go back.
No.
You go and talk to your scarecrow friends? I don't know.
I don't think the scarecrows are there anymore, are they?
No,
It's too much too dark to be able to see the top of the hill on the opposite side.
Well, yeah, we can't tell if they're there or not, but we know where they would be if they were there.
Yes, you would know, but yeah, it's
You've
dark.
been there several times, Fox. Do we go to the house? What are we going to do? I don't.
Well, I think it is two options. We either go and see what's what up at the scarecrows, and if that's the way out, make sure we turn around and wave lots. And if it's not the way out, I think we should head back along the trail. So scarecrows it is then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go in search of scarecrows and hope that Slavomir's parents don't come out looking for the lunatic that told them to have a spare pair of trousers.
Well, so walking back across the bridge and then halfway up the path so that you avoid having to traipse through the field, you can hear the sound of laughter coming from the house. Clearly devoid of good funnies to be laughing about. And as you pass, Slavomir comes out of the door, sees you, points, looks back and says, come in.
Well,
I suppose we can't refuse an invitation.
no.
We'll wander along.
You can tell more jokes. You're funny. In fact, tell them the one about the trousers again.
It's just sound advice. It will become part of later years. You always want to carry a spare pair of trousers, just in case.
So as I said, the house is blazing pretty much, compared to before where it was all dark and grey. All of the windows have the light of the fire inside, and you can almost smell the light, the fire burning inside, the heat coming out as you come to the door. And inside, You can see that there is, again, a table, but this time it's burdened with even more food, bowls and plates of succulent meats and breads. And at the head of the table, instead of the sullen face of Slavomir, you can see there are 3 identical ladies, clad in pale silks and embroidered and with gold thread, with long flowing blonde hair, and a queer point to their ears, and a odd sort of shape to their eyes.
So
and
Slavomir, about those trousers.
Are these your visitors, Slavomir? Is this your joker? Oh, it's so good to have visitors. It's so good to hear more laughter. Come in, strangers. Do tell us your reason for passing. One of the women is stood by the table. The other 2 are sat at the far end, and you see the one at the head of the table has a wrap, a swaddle wrap of rag cloth in front of her, which she's cupping in the crook of her arm, and you can hear the soft coo of a baby.
Is that a sibling to Sir Slavomir?
It's our daughter.
Oh. Slavomir, not your son?
Slavomir is our husband. He gave us his heart, and we've shared ours with him. We are wedded.
I guess they do things differently in Poland.
Please come in, be seated, eat.
Thank you.
Very pleased to meet you.
I'm Gage. These are my fellows Fox and Edgerton. Whom might we be addressing?
I believe we covered this, didn't we? We are Slavomir's wives.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you didn't have individual names. Greetings, Slavomir's wives.
Hello.
I'm not eating anything.
No.
But why not? The bread is fresh.
Not telling him that.
The meat. Please, fresh breads, honeyed wine. The meat the meat is fresh from the kitchen. Do tell us what brings you here. Slavomir tells me that one of you is blessed with humour. Something about trousers.
No, just a practical sense of when one might need to make sure that one is prepared for any accidents.
Oh, good. You should always be prepared for accidents.
Yes.
They can happen so suddenly.
Oh, absolutely. So,
all 3 of them are sat down.
So, Slavomir does seem a touch on the young side for you.
I'm sorry. I don't understand. What do you mean? Is there an age to be able to give your heart to another?
Generally speaking, in our world, yes. Yes, there is a certain maturity of intellect along with emotion that hangs in the balance.
I'm sorry, you're not from here. Did you say you're from another world?
It seems like another world.
A phrase. We're from Britain. It may as well be another world.
Still not somewhere I'm familiar with.
You're not missing anything. The weather's dreadful.
Still, it's warm in here. And feel free, you can stay the night. There are beds, food.
Thank you very much.
More wood for the fire. In fact, I shall get some more food. I think there's more of the honeyed buns ready in the stove. And one of the women walks to the back of the room and passes through a door into a room beyond.
Is only one of them talking to us, or are they all talking to us?
Now, the odd thing is, now that you think about it, is that you are having a conversation, but you haven't actually, it's odd. It's almost like they're not actually talking to you.
Yeah.
You're being spoken to. Thinking about it too hard, you realize that you don't actually see their lips move while they're speaking. It's like the words are just there inside your head at the right point in time to answer questions that you haven't quite asked yet, or you're just tripping off your tongue.
Mm.
So, Slavomir, it strikes me there's four of you here, but there's only one snowman. Surely we're three snowmen short. Perhaps we should go and remedy that.
Slavomir is excited by that prospect. Although one of the ladies corrects you that there is a fifth and points to the child.
Oh, of course. 3 snowmen and 1 snow child short.
Yes, you're right, Trouser Man. You're right. Yes, let's make some more snowmen. And he runs out of the door.
I'm sorry, friends. I hate to take you away from the feast, but I can only build 1 snowman at a time, and it's getting cold out. Might I request
Can we
your
give
help?
you a hand?
Superb.
Is the cutlery, are they all using wooden cups and plates and things?
Yes.
Right.
Take some food. It's cold outside.
I'll take a carrot for a nose.
Take.
Yes, you don't have to have any cold, do you?
Cold carrots? You mean a raw carrot?
Yes.
A raw carrot, yes.
One of the ladies goes back to the kitchen and emerges with a carrot.
It's very kind
and
of you.
holds it out to you.
This is for the snowman.
Okay. Hands you a carrot.
Mm.
Oh. Not sure.
All right, it's not for me, it's for the snowman.
Yeah. Anyway, given the chance to get out, I'm getting out of the house.
Yeah.
Slavimir's already run along the path over the bridge, and he's already started to roll the snow in the field near the existing snowman.
So why do you make the snowman down here, Slavomir, instead of next to the house?
It's just deeper here.
Oh, okay.
We'll show you a good trick about how to make a snowman quickly. What happens is you make the first ball at the top of the hill, and you roll it down, and as you roll it down, it gathers the snow as it goes.
Okay.
And by the time it reaches the bottom, you have the base of your snowman ready already. It's a hell of a trick. Shall we try it?
Yeah. I mean, you can see he's looking back across the bridge up the hill beyond the longhouse. Do you mean up there?
Yeah. Let's try that.
I'll put the carrot on the existing snowman.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So having inserted the carrot and left it there, you head up the hill. It's a long trudge, but when you reach the top of the hill, There is, you find sort of bare hillside basically. There's no scarecrows or anything on the fringe of the woods. But the woods are free from mist or fog. It's just darkness between the trees. Little helped by the starlight. There is no moon in the sky that you can see. A few strips of cloud. And it's, just very cold. And once you get near the top of the hill, Slavomir starts enthusiastically rolling one of the snowballs, guiding it down the hill.
It's going to be enormous, I suppose, having it down there.
Huge.
Barely fit over the bridge.
Yep.
I have to go to the booth. Back in a minute.
No worries. Shall we help him roll the snowball back to the site, and then bid him goodbye and toddle off down the trail?
You can do. So when you get to the bottom of the hill, the snowball is massive.
Yep. Isn't that the biggest snowball you've ever seen, Slavomir?
Huge. Absolutely
Told you
huge.
it was a good trick.
This is never going to melt. This will be here forever.
Yeah.
I don't even think this is going to get across the bridge.
Yeah, let's give it a go, shall we?
So with difficulty, you push this enormous snowball across the bridge, and he's left. He sort of stood wondering just how he's going to put anything on top of something which is already taller than he is.
But this is the key then, Slavomir. You've already got enough snow for the 3, right? So you carve it now. It's a whole new way of making snowmen.
Oh, I never thought of that before.
It's a snow sculpture.
Wow.
One piece. That means you don't have the problem of putting the last ball on top and it falling off, you see?
You're really clever.
Yeah, so when I tell you to always make sure you have spare trousers, you know it's coming from a man of intellect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I should probably go back to the house and get some more trousers now, because these ones are really quite wet at the moment from all the snow. I think it's really, you are probably the cleverest person I've ever met.
Well, I'm not sure about that. The ladies indoors are probably quite clever too.
I think that they're different. They love me.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that.
Any, I'll go get those trousers now. And he runs back across the bridge.
I think let's wait for Steve. Yeah,
just in case he's gone to get a change of trousers.
Yeah.
I'm going to get myself a drink of water.
Really? Oh dear.
Oh, he's gone.
He's just gone to get some water.
Oh, okay. Down the other end of the library.
Yeah.
There's a nice backdrop, that.
It is very. I wonder which library it is.
It's John Dee's in Manchester.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
The file I uploaded was a picture of me with the John Dee Society in Mortlake.
Ah.
With a cupcake. It's taken by, coincidentally, by a boyhood friend of Sandy Peterson.
Ah, there you go.
Who we just happened to meet.
Right.
Who has some early credits in Call of Cthulhu material.
Yeah. Well. I still have a copy of the box.
Yeah.
With the two slim paperbacks and the 2D10.
Oh wow, yeah.
I still have the red D10.
I've got one of those really shitty green D20s from early D&D where you had to ink it yourself. And
Oh,
it's
really?
practically a sphere now. It's just falling apart. Bits of it keep falling off.
I should go get it, actually. Just to one side. There we go. For posterity.
Back from herding cats.
What's the name of that library? I couldn't remember.
This
Your
one,
back, the library.
I think that's the. I see. I'm not sure where I got it from. I don't know whether that's the Chains library from. Is it from like Hereford or something? The Chain
Hereford
library?
is the chain library, but I don't
I'm
know.
not sure whether that is though. It looks a
thought
bit
it was
too
the,
grand.
I don't think it's that big.
No, I'll have to have.
I thought it was the one in Manchester. You know that John Dee was linked to.
Part of the yeah, I've been in the John Ryland one, but I don't think that's it
That's where I
either
came
actually, because I was yeah, lucky enough to have a tour of the parts of the library they don't normally take people to, and I don't think
Oh,
that's
nice.
it either.
All right.
So I was saying that the image I posted to Zoom
Yes,
is me holding a cupcake with the Monas hieroglyphica on it,
Yeah.
indeed.
taken in the church in Mortlake,
Okay,
where he's buried.
indeed. Yes.
There is a John Dee Society, John Dee of Mortlake Society, and Paula was briefly a member of it before they were incredibly rude to her.
Okay.
But we went to the unveiling of the plaque to John Dee, which is now in the church. His house was opposite the church on the banks of the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I can see now. Yes.
We
just
would talk.
just downloaded it.
The reason he's got his box of Call of Cthulhu
Yeah.
is the photo was taken by a boyhood friend of Sandy Peterson,
Yeah.
who bizarrely we met at an occult talk at Treadwell's, and then he went on a walk with Paula, as Paula was doing an occult walk around London, and she said, "This thing's happening in Mortlake tomorrow," so he went along and he took that photo of me.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go.
And I'm showing off that I still have the original D10 that came with it as well.
Ooh.
My mother never threw out anything.
No, there's no more chocolate. No.
You got a friend.
I've got a
Oh,
one of my two, the younger one, Henry.
yeah.
You
Saying
smell it.
hello. You saying hello? Oh.
Yeah.
So, we're
Come on.
so Slavomir has gotten his trousers wet and gone back to the house to get some more trousers.
Following the sage advice of the
Yeah.
cleverest man he's ever met.
Yeah.
So, do we want to run away?
Well, I don't want to go near those witches or fairies or whatever they are.
No.
They scare the pants off me,
Yeah.
almost literally.
Yeah, and we're all out of fresh leggings, so
Yeah.
I think. Shall we?
Well, I don't
In fact-
know because it's 160 years ago. I don't know when we are or what's going on anymore.
You would guess you're in the 1530s.
About 50 years before.
Yeah. But those ladies are not human, are they?
No,
No.
clearly.
Pointy ears.
Yeah, and also not very dressed for snow.
No, no, they're not. No.
And fair to fair play to Slavomir. He's clearly punching above his weight.
Yeah, he's done pretty well for an 8-year-old.
The boy's done good, you know.
Yeah. Feel a sort of sense of pride, frankly.
So I'm a bit confused about the future Slavomir, though, because clearly his wife was human, not one of these ungodly creatures.
No.
So that means he escapes their clutches at some point. And I'm kind of worried that that implicates us in the deed.
Yeah.
But Slavomir is not 80, is he? This was 60 years ago.
No, this was.
He might have stopped time for long.
It wasn't 60 years ago. His father gave up being a preacher 60 years before.
Yeah.
And Slavomir is about 8 or 9 now. So it's no more than top 40s, maybe 50 years ago. So as I said, it's the 1530s.
All right. I think you gave us the wrong king.
No. No. Maybe my pronunciation of the king's name was bad, because Vladislav II, however, is definitely, according to this, the first king of the new dynasty of another word I can't pronounce, the Grand Duke of Lithuania, also known as Vladislav II in Poland. I don't know. So is he not actually the king of Poland? Is it?
That was 1430, not 1530.
Well, you know what? There's no point in the internet doing things wrong.
1530 is Sigismund the Old.
Oh, well, in that case, that's the words that I said to you, and you merely misheard.
I'm sure I did. I'm sure it was my fault entirely.
It was definitely your fault, as we've now established that, in fact, Fox is the cleverest man in the room, and you, Sarah, are a charlatan.
So, right then, what shall we do?
Well, do we try and get rid of the infestation? Do you know how to do that?
Haven't a clue.
I know they haven't got any iron in the house.
Feels like we're hopelessly outmatched, though. I wonder, do you think there'll be any iron in the shed?
What are our daggers made of?
Yeah.
I suppose this is true.
There would be iron, yeah. But yeah, that's all you've got. You've got daggers, and
we have a holy relic though.
Fox has got his hoof knife.
Yeah, I've got a hoof knife.
I've got a quill and some
ink.
ink.
A horse pick.
We have a holy relic.
Yeah, we do.
We have the power of Jesus on our side.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything I might be able to dredge up from my memory of the Liber Solomonis?
It's mostly advice about cutting children in half, if I seem to remember.
Okay. But no, then.
Yeah, it's the answer to most questions. If in doubt, cut the child in half.
Oh, maybe.
There you go then. It has helped.
If that's what you say. And I quite like the lad, but you know.
Yeah.
Does anyone know anything about relics? Can we compel them with the power of Jesus?
I don't know. Where's Matt's gone side out when you need him?
So your understanding is by its nature patchy. None of you have particularly had exposure to this kind of aspect of the supernatural before in any particular measure. Folklore wise, you suspect that the Fae have existed for a great deal more time than the Christ. So you have no clue how they interact as forces.
It's not an undead thing, is it? Let's face it.
No, in principle, again, your knowledge of the Fae is quite limited. So,
I guess our choices are we either confront them or we run away, right?
Yeah, we can't run away because we've got nowhere to go. Because we're not in the right time. I don't know. I mean, I know why we're back here.
Yeah.
Relic.
What's the eyelash doing at the moment?
It points at the relic.
Just points at the relic.
Oddly enough, having taken the bottle back out, the eyelash has sunk to the bottom of the liquid in the bottle.
Oh, right. Stop pointing altogether. Maybe its job is done.
Yeah, seems like it.
Look, boys, cat.
Cat.
Yeah.
You'll get.
Okay, so
we could talk to them plainly, but
yeah,
I don't know if that would.
I don't think it would do any harm though.
Well, they might just turn on us and turn us into frogs, or worse, use their womanly wiles on us.
Well, if we toddle up to them with daggers or iron, then aren't they likely to do the same?
Well, I don't know. I'm imagining so, but at least we might be protected in some way. Maybe not.
Okie doke.
Yeah.
So we've decided that.
I don't really know any apotropaic magic, so.
No. We've decided that they don't belong here, therefore we have to. Should we reason with them? Could we reason with them?
Paul, what does fortune mean on your character sheet?
So you can spend points of fortune to effectively re-roll dice that have failed you. So if I'd told you that earlier, we wouldn't have had so much. We wouldn't have had so much fun with Fox's trousers. So I think it's for the best.
Clearly, yeah.
I think it's for the best. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had brachymancy as an option in the game. So you know, it's a positive omission on my part.
I think so.
You note that across the pale expanse of the fields that there is no sign of the spot where you emerged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can we do a deal with them? They send us back to where we're from. We don't stab them.
Leave it alone. I think that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. I mean, maybe
As
we can.
long as it doesn't condemn our immortal souls.
You hear a mellifluous voice in your head say, "Go."
What? Did we all hear? Did you hear that?
Yeah, you all heard the same word in your head. It sounded like both the three women speaking in chorus.
How?
There isn't anything more than that.
We just go.
It was almost
Maybe
like in response to your own discussions, you just heard the word "go" in your head.
Should we go then?
Yeah, I think we go.
Right.
Head along the path.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you follow the. I mean, the path is barely visible. The snow is, to borrow a phrase, deep and crisp and even. So you are you're forging a fresh trail through the snow as you follow. You're sort of, you poke the ground, making sure that you keep to it, even though the earth itself is almost solid with the cold. So even when you stray off the path, there's no major issue. The snow continues to fall around you, and ahead you can see the tree line on the edge of the fields as the track departs the farm and heads out into the woodland. And that's the trail you're following.
Yeah.
When you pass beneath the eaves of the trees, you just follow the trail beyond. That trail takes you through the enclosing claustrophobic darkness of the woods, vague glimmers of starlight far above, and you hear behind you a sort of a distant sound, an echo of the words of the women. They've gone. He is ours forever. And as you pass through and beyond the woods, ultimately you are lost forever in the lands of the Fae. In Krakow, 2 weeks later, Stefan Bathory demands that Dee take his tricks and his nonsense away, for he'll have no time of it. He has no interest in his the threats that Dee makes against his immortal soul, and any belief that somehow Dee's shenanigans could save him are nonsense. Dee leaves in shame, seeking to perhaps be able to barter the attentions of Rudolph II on his own merit, but it seems ever unlikely. Although he hears in times as the weeks and months pass that there is concern and consternation from Poland as there are increasing numbers of attacks upon traders and travelers on the roads south of Krakow, and talk of strange things emerging from the woods, and odd fairies and goblins that have never troubled people on these paths before seem to be becoming more and more common, as if some dam has been damaged, some protection has been taken away and allowed the lands of the Fae to be loosed upon the world. And somewhere deep in the darkness of the Fae, there are three lonely strangers walking the paths of the wildlands with a single splinter of the one true cross in their hands, their only single saving grace in an unhealthy and unwelcoming land of goblins and elves, unable to harm you, but ultimately unwilling to show you the way home.
There we go.
The end.